Hello, gorgeous human beings of the channel. A summit of sisterhood for me, for you, for us. This is our second call of the day. We'll have one more after this, and then tomorrow, 2 more calls, and that completes the channel. I am so excited to bring this next person up today. First of all, the first time when she entered the channel, the first time I had a conversation with her, and she told me all the ins and outs of her business, I was like, oh, so excited to have someone with something so different, as well as other things. You're going to figure out and find out what that is in a moment. But I have just loved watching the manifestations happen in the most extraordinary way in this person's life. This was a manifestation magnet. And so we have good stories, great stories on the horizon. She's going to be sharing some behind the scenes stories with us. And you're going to find out why I was so excited in a moment. And so if you can come join me, Kim, come on up.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, so excited to be here with everyone. The summit. Oh my gosh. I had no idea I needed this summit, and it's been phenomenal.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
So what was your journey of entering the channel? How did it happen for you?
Wow, I was one of the midday hair washer shower people during exponential wealth. Like, I found myself taking a shower and washing my hair in the middle of the day, which I'd never done before, and thought, like, okay. And I knew I was going to go to the exponential wealth module, and you're running late, and I had an acupuncture appointment. I'm like, oh, I really wanted to be here live. And then I heard what unfolded, and I knew it was for me. And I had this fascinating experience where I had to hop off the call a little bit early. And I was sort of thinking, like, oh, I've just made a few investments in my business. Should I really be doing this? But I knew I needed to. And then I'm driving to acupuncture. I get there and I notice I have an email from my accountant, and I had overpaid my taxes, not by as much as you did that one year.
Oh yeah,
but but by a lot, by a fair amount. And I was like, that's my signal, And so I contacted the Alpha Fem team right away. But I was really like, yeah, isn't that wild? Like, so many of us had these stories.
I know, it blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
But my journey, like, I really came in, I thought I was coming in to, like, really grow my coaching practice. And if you remember my question to you, I went in the first month, my session, and I said my question was something to the effect of, like, how I wanted to know how to market myself. How would I do this on social media? Because I hadn't mastered that. In 10 or 12 years of coaching, I did so much more out in the real world, but really, when I was reflecting on this, what I was really asking you then, that I would not ask you today, was, I may cry if I say this, what can I do to get them to see me? You know what I mean? Like, I still felt like it was something, like I needed to do something so that people could see me out there. And that the problem was really in the question.
Mm-hmm.
And so my journey has been so much a journey of, in the business world, coming back to myself. I'd already done that in relationships, but I hadn't done that in business yet. I still felt like there was something, to Danielle's point this morning, that I had to do that I didn't want to do. It was kind of like built in the system. I'm gonna have to do some stuff I don't really want to do, because I'd gotten a lot of success doing that in the corporate world. So I just thought I was playing by the same rules. And I think what unwound for me during the channel was, oh, there's, like, I can actually do this exactly the way I want to, which is pretty cool.
Love you so much. Oh my gosh. Like, this is the thing, sometimes you go around in your mind, you go around in your feelings, and you go around in all the things you think are not good enough, or what do I need to do, and what do I need to do? And in fact, it's like there's a light inside that when you just let it be, and then everything is just there where you need it to be.
Yeah, it's so much simpler than I was making it.
Yeah.
It's so much simpler.
So can I say, can I say what happened? Okay, so we're on call one. This is like right at the beginning of the channel. And Kim comes on and she's like, so I'm growing my coaching business, but I also have an ice cream company. And I'm like, she's like, my husband's been a chef. My partner's been a chef for 40 years. And he is phenomenal. And these ice creams that I have, I've got this flavor and these kinds of all these odd, crazy flavors. And I'm just like, I'm so excited. When do we get ice cream? And she was like, well, I don't know. I don't think I can ship to Canada. I was like, ice cream. And she's like, well, we've got to figure out the cartons, and we've got to figure out the branding. We've got to figure out all these things. And I was like, okay. I'm manifesting that at some point, everything will be up and running. And so at this point, you had a little shop in Texas, a little one. And the idea was like, we've got to expand a little bit. We've got to get into a location that's maybe better foot traffic. We've also got to like work on our packaging a little bit, but it's a huge investment for the amount we have to buy in order to get something that we really want. And so there was a lot of that going on. And what ended up happening?
Well, yeah, it was so, I've helped a lot of businesses do a lot of things, but I'm like a professional services kind of person, services at a high end. And so I never dealt with really a product business that much other than being a customers, right? So, but I knew, like, I really believed in Steve's vision for what he could see. He's a 4-6 in human design. So like he has that role model and he's already in his 50s. So he's really in the time of his life. And yeah, so we had this tiny little shop down in Montrose area of Houston, which is kind of this, it's really kind of cool, gritty area. But we happen to be in a place there that there's, yeah, you can barely see the shop. If you have the address, it's still hard to find. There's no parking. It's like there's no foot traffic. It was a really challenging spot. And so we kind of like, okay, this is our lab space. We're just gonna do experiments and we're going to have people come in. And we tried really hard, but the location was tough. And so during the channel, he and I were out for a walk, and our big question was, again, this is another place where we kind of had the wrong question. The question was, how do we sell more $5 scoops of ice cream? How do we do this? But we're out on a walk and we're just kind of letting our minds wander. And I started to ask him, like, babe, how many Michelin star kitchens have you cooked in? Like, I knew he'd been employed by 3 different Michelin star restaurants, but I knew he'd also been in the kitchen as a stage at a number. And so we're on our walk and he gets up to 12 and I say, is that unusual? And he said, oh yeah, that's pretty unusual. And I said, I have an idea. He's also back in the day, he was a level 2 sommelier. I said, and you've always wanted to do wine dinners. Why don't we do ice cream wine dinners? And we're going to focus it on your time in Michelin star restaurants. And you'll do these little ice cream dishes paired with wine. And so we start this idea, right? And we're both highly creative. We both have the 8-1 channel in human design. And so like we start playing with this idea. And so we're like, okay, it was his birthday. We decided to release some tickets. We released, I think, 2 seatings, 20 seats at each seating for a date in July. And we do that in the morning and we don't really know what we're doing. Like we're kind of past the technology age. We're trying to figure this out all on our own. We put something up on Eventbrite and I think I threw a social media post up. And we go and celebrate his birthday. We have massages, we go to dinner, we do all this stuff. And we thought, oh, we'll put this up and then a couple of our friends will buy tickets to this. And, 10 of us will sit around having a good time. Well, we get back that night and he goes, all the tickets are gone. And I was like, really? And he goes, I don't think any of our friends are on the list. And I was like, really? Okay. So we keep adding tickets. we keep adding seatings. And I think we ended up in that first round of wine dinners, I think we seated like 120 people at $55 each. So we were trying to sell a $5 scoop of ice cream. And then what we found was after the pandemic, people were looking for experience. And so that started to, we just started to see like, okay, there's this event part of the business is pretty interesting. But okay, so then fast forward, like that was a whole thing. And it's been fun because both Steve and I have in our hearts hospitality. Like I've never worked in a restaurant before becoming the chief tasting officer of our ice cream business. I've never really worked in a food business or that, but I do have like hospitality in my heart. And he's been in the hospitality industry for 40 years. So this event thing was really amazing and really boosted the business when we were kind of at that point going, we don't know really what to do. We couldn't quite at that point. There was not enough capital in the business to open a new location, like go into, whatever that would cost, probably $300,000 or $400,000 to do that. We're like, we can't, the sales don't support it. So that piece with the wine dinners of just embracing a brand new idea, which we think they're the world's first and only ice cream wine dinners. We can't find any evidence that anyone else has ever done it. But it boosted the business and kind of kept us going and we just kept going. There's going to be something that happens. Steve always has a sense about like, he's like, something's about to happen. And then the next thing that happened is there was an influencer here who opened a really cool smash burger place. So smash burgers are the burgers that are super thin and they have the crispy edges. And he wanted us to do his milkshake program. And then they ended up being, at that time, our biggest wholesale customer. So then there was this other boost. These boosts just kept going for us. And eventually, as I was telling you yesterday, this past April, we knew we were getting to the point again, like, okay, we need to do something here. Something's brewing. We both feel it coming. And Steve happened to run into another chef in the grocery store, just ran into him. And this guy, he has a great restaurant here in Houston, but he also owns this ice cream shop in the Heights at this corner location that we've always coveted. We always knew we were supposed to be in this corner in the Heights in Houston. Like we just knew it, but there are too many ice creams already in the Heights and the corners are all taken and we just couldn't figure it out. Well, he runs into this guy who has that shop and the guy's like, we're potentially thinking about getting out of the ice cream business. Would you be interested in buying our business? So he's like, well, that's kind of interesting. We'll have a conversation with you about it. And we're thinking like, for what they were asking for the business, we're like, oh, it's kind of like, it was sort of, we felt like probably too much for us to take on at that time. But we just kept meeting with him. We just thought, you know what, there's nothing wrong with just continuing the conversation. And when we all learned about each other's businesses, like they really loved what Steve had done with the wholesale business. Because he's really developed it from like zero to, well, it's kept the business afloat. He's really built an incredible business. And then we looked at their numbers and it's like, oh my gosh, they have all this walk-in traffic. Their sales were great, but they weren't, for some reason, they weren't really making any money. And Steve's like, well, I'm great at figuring out where the money is in restaurants. Like he's been doing that. He's been doing consulting, that sort of thing. So eventually we combined forces and Steve took over the operations of what we now call Sweet Bribery by Craft Creamery. We combined the two names. That happened on August 1st. And it's been amazing. Within the first month, Steve figured out how to make the business profitable. And now he's really keeps building the wholesale. And we got to send you ice cream, which was also on our vision board of like, I can see Melanie eating our ice cream. Oh my gosh. Oh
I
my
am
gosh.
so excited. So okay, this is the funniest thing because it got stuck at the border and it was like we had to go get it at the border and it was still so frozen when I got it. It was shipped on Wednesday, I got it on Friday and it was still like perfect. And so this one, oh my gosh, seduction in every scoop. It says seduction in every scoop. It says save restraint for another day, which I think is so brilliant. Sweet Bribery by Craft Creamery. And this one is called $1 Million Chocolate. And I figured this is the one I was going to have to just take a little bit of a bite in front of you guys. But I'm going to do a tasting with some of the flavors because we have to talk about these flavors because I think it's just too, oh
Oh
my.
my, like this chocolate, like there is so much high quality chocolate in that chocolate. Like you're going to see, like it's almost not ice cream. It's that much chocolate.
You guys, oh my God, you guys, I wish I could send you some of this. This is the creamiest ice cream I've ever seen. Mm. Oh my God. Oh no.
Oh my gosh. I
Oh
know everybody. I wish I could have sent
God.
it to everyone.
Okay, my mouth is watering while I'm eating it. That's a good sign.
Yes.
Can we
Isn't
just
it like
this
just next
fast?
level? And so that one I was saying to Melanie that when we serve it in the shop, which we serve it at the wine dinners. Oh, Steve brought me a little too. So I'm going to show you all how we serve this in the shop. I'm going to pull this up. We serve it with a little bit of Maldon salt, which is the
Mm,
really chunky salt that doesn't melt. There we go. And a little bit of pistachio.
mm.
And so that's this. And then we put it in this really fun little dish. We do this for the wine dinners when we serve it with red wine. It's pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make
Okay,
the
I'm gonna have a little
cutest little
taste actually.
presentations of this. I'm gonna do it exactly like you said a little later, but
Mm,
Kevin
mm,
stole my
mm.
ice cream, but that's okay. It's probably best. Mm, mm, mm.
Mm. I love that you're getting to experience it because truly it was one of the things when you said in the channel, send it my way, and we couldn't do it at that point. At the time there were COVID restrictions still.
Yeah,
And then but then getting it here this time was a little bit of an experience as well.
it
But we
was.
got it there.
Oh my gosh, but I am entirely blown away by the texture and the flavor of this ice cream. This is so good.
This
So,
is what
so we were
happens
talking about
when
this yesterday. We were like, okay, but now we need like influencers to order like 12 buckets of it so you can send it to them because then everybody can talk about your ice cream everywhere. But if you're in Houston, you've got to stop by the creamery and you've got to get yourself some ice cream. Oh my gosh, that is so good. I could eat the whole thing in one sitting.
yeah, it's something else. And it's just again like this is where I think to me partnership is so interesting. So my husband and I we've only been married for just a couple of years. We're we got married in our 50s. And both of us had kind of sworn off love, to be honest. Like it's really we had done that. And but there's something about I'd had my share of rocky relationships. I want to say that somebody needs to hear this. I'd had my share of rocky relationships. And I would have said even that I was like an anxious attacher, like I don't know if people have heard that term, but that's what I would have said. But when I met Steve, like I had really worked on I had worked on my connection to the divine, my trust, my surrender, my connection to myself, uh, and really my feminine energy before I met him. Because like what I really saw after my last rocky relationship, which I see one of my friends on here and she's smiling. She was with me through the whole thing. Um, but when I got through that, like I just looked at myself and I'm like, oh, the common denominator here is me. And I thought there got to be some things that I don't really understand about being a woman in love in this age. And I really just sort of changed some things for myself. And so that when I met Steve, like it was like I was whole, he was whole, and it was perfect timing. And it's allowed us to not only have like this beautiful committed marriage, but also work together and it not really feel like work. I mean, he does really hard work in the business, but we co-create, we collaborate all the time. And we're just being honest. I've been married twice before. I used to compete with my husbands. I don't know if anybody else does it, but I would compete. That's just how I grew up. And not having the like, I don't want to do that anymore because we just love collaborating. my soul settled when it settled down when I met him. So all of a sudden I'm like, I don't think I'm an anxious attacher after all. I think actually, when I got into my feminine energy and let someone come towards me, it was a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. So the ice cream, it's like on the carton. I think you probably see I have one of them here, but we say handmade with heart in Houston, Texas. Right? That's what it says on here. And we didn't tell the branding people that we talk about how we make it with love all the time. They just, in the last rendition of the pints, that appeared from the branding people, and they just got that from us. Yeah, it was
Like,
pretty cool.
what I also love about the dynamic of yourself and Steve is like, he is an expert at what he does. He is like so good at what he does. I'm telling you, this ice cream, and I tasted yesterday, there was a peanut butter, and she gave me 6 different flavors. Anyway, I'm just daydreaming about yesterday's ice cream. Peanut butter stracciatella, and so it's like, those little chocolate shavings that are usually in the stracciatella ice cream. It's in a peanut butter ice cream, so it's like the most delicious thing I've ever had in my whole life. But there's other flavors that are in there, like brisket, cacio e pepe, which is like cheese and pepper pasta, for those of you who don't know, and there's an ice cream of this. So I'm like, to message Kim, is this a mistake or does this say brisket? And she's like, oh, it's brisket. And so one of the things that she explained to me, and what I'm excited about when I do the tasting on my social media, you'll have to see, but apparently people have a brisket face when they eat the ice cream, when they realize that it tastes like brisket. There's like a weird moment. So I'm looking forward to mine and Kevin's brisket faces. And also the cheese, the cheese and pepper one, that's a recipe from his grandmother that taught him how to make ice cream, how to make the cacio e pepe. So there's like all his chef history in the thing. The brisket flavor was for a special rodeo show that he was supposed to do, and like all these stories that come together, and then you become the chef or the chief tasting officer. Is there a better job in the world? Like, you can be a CEO, you can be a CFO, or you can be a CTO.
Yeah, it just hit me one day, like, oh, I'm going to be the chief tasting officer. It's been so much fun. Like, and he really does. He brings all the new stuff home. We have an ice cream meeting every morning over coffee, and I've posted. Some of you all have seen my coffee post. Like, he expertly makes the coffee every morning. It's weighed. It's like everything is expert. It's blended with butter. Like, it's this whole thing, and we have coffee every single morning. And we have an ice cream meeting every morning. So we kind of have the Sweet Bribery by Craft Creamery sort of board meeting each morning, and go over kind of what we need to do. What does the social media look like? What events do we have? What are the new flavors? What are all the things? And it's just so much. We have so much fun with it. And we come up with things like the brisket. That was actually a request someone had early on, one of our customers. They didn't end up buying it, which was fascinating, but he ended up putting it together. And I know some of you guys are in the comments like, brisket ice cream. So it's like this smoky, salty, caramely, but sweet ice cream. And yes, he makes it with brisket. There are no chunks of meat in the actual ice cream, but he makes it with brisket. And so, yeah, like, it's so fun. Like the brisket face I was telling Melanie about, which we're going to get to witness, but like people will kind of go like, they have a question mark, and then they start to taste it, and they kind of, you see this like, and then it hits them and they smile. And so I have all these clips of brisket face that I sometimes put on social media. It's really fun, but we have so much fun with it. And it has woven, like Steve always tells me, he said, like anytime we have a boost in the business, like something amazing happens, he says to me, this is all you know that, meaning me. And I'm like, and I kind of, line 2 here, like, really, is it me? I don't know, but there's a way I can, like, one of my gifts is just seeing the essence, the truth in people, the potential that needs to be polished and pulled out. And that's just me being me. That's what I do. I don't, it's not a goal. It's just me naturally being who I am. And it's worked incredibly well for the two of us. We're building something that we're incredibly proud of. That, yeah, we're just incredibly proud of it. And like I said, my part of it is lots of fun. I think he would say it's lots of fun too, but he does the hard work too.
I love the story. I love how your relationship whole and the business work so well together. I love that when you found your femininity, you found such an extraordinary, passionate human being to come and walk your life with you. And that you both found this incredible passion together and that this is your life. Like when I hear this, I imagine you in the morning with your meetings. I imagine with your delicious coffee and your love and it's like that's what life is all about. You love your work, you love your partner, you love your life.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think what I've become an expert in the last few years is just like enjoying life so much. I enjoy my work. I enjoy my work that I do with my clients. Like it's so gratifying and humbling to do the kind of work that I do. And then to sit down with my husband every morning and do that. And I want to say this for people who are on potentially a similar journey as me. This was not always my life. I haven't had like I have, and from a human design standpoint, I have gate 36 four times in my chart. And gate 36, for those of you who know a bit about human design, it's called the storm. Okay? And it means you're going to bumble into some things in life, some of them pretty big that are disorienting. And I think what I've really sort of mastered or gotten comfortable with might be a better term at this stage in my life, I'm 57 now, is dancing in the rain. Like the storms, I have the 36 four times. I'm going to have storms. I'm going to have little storms. Sometimes I'm going to have big storms. But we've gotten really good at just dancing in the rain and being able to enjoy even when something big happens, because we have things that happen. It's not that life is perfect, but I think the journey I've been on in the channel, part of my journey during that time was to not get so rocked by life. Look, my cat, I knew she was going to join us. She loves the energy. I knew. She's really funny. Okay, miss. Her name's Daisy. But it's really just learning to dance because we're all going to have storms. Some people are going to have more than others, and I think I'm just one of those people. But really learning to be with what is, that we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves. We have the divine flowing through us as us in every moment, and connecting to that as a way to, gosh, live into our highest expression, which is so beautiful. And when we hit the road bumps of life, when we hit those speed bumps, to just be with it. Like there's such wisdom in what is that saying? Whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right? And I've even learned, to me, there's something even beyond strength. A lot of us as women, we have learned to be so strong, but the next evolution is the power. We don't need to keep, most of us do not need to keep working out that same muscle and getting stronger. We do not need that. That's the transition that I've made in my 50s. Like, I don't need to keep learning that lesson. I'm ready to be in my power with this stuff, right? To really step into that.
That is so good. Beyond the strength, the power. So you might need to test a little bit. You might need to show yourself you're capable, and then eventually you feel that you've integrated it and you choose the power.
Yes. Yes. I think as women, a lot of times that we like, there's such, it's so sacred to be a strong woman. There's, like it's such a sacred journey, and it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. We expand beyond that into our full power. And yeah, yeah.
I
I felt
love
like I was stuck in getting strong for a long time. That's why I'm sharing that with you all. I probably strengthened my muscles maybe even more than I needed to, but yeah.
that is really, I love the depth of that. That's a beautiful thought. And I feel like sometimes because if we think we've got to constantly be strong and we're told that and we feel that, sometimes we might be creating storms we don't need just to cultivate strength, because it becomes part of who we think we are. Like, I remember one of the first questions a coach ever asked me that kind of blew my mind a little bit was, who would you be without the struggle? And I didn't know the answer. I was like, I'm always overcoming something. So if I had nothing to overcome, like, I actually don't know. And so a lot of my power and a lot of the creation of from good to great to greater to greater occurred in letting that go. And like, of course, there's still going to be things, but I don't need to constantly be in a strengthening moment in order to know that I'm powerful. It's like, I don't need to be currently lifting weights to know I'm powerful. There's a moments where it's like, I know I can lift that. I don't need to prove it. I'm just going to go do
Yes.
my thing now.
Yes. And I even see that with relationships, um, I want to share, like, I used to hold the sort of the context or the intention for relationships, especially my romantic ones, and that were they were always very challenging. Um, that I was always holding, like, I wanted growth, like growth. This is the context of growth. And I awoke to something that I like to share with everyone. The thing about relationships is the nature of them is growth. Like when you get yourself with another person, like the nature of it's growth. So kind of like if you were planting a seed, the seed, like the nature of a seed is to grow. So we actually don't need to hold the intention of a seed to grow. Like that's just what it's going to do in the right conditions. So I started to really think about that with relationships. I feel like when we hold the intention of growth for relationships, what life sends our way is a lot of great opportunities to grow, and those are usually challenges. So a couple of years ago, this was during, I think right before Steve and I got married, I thought, what if I reset the context? Like, what if relationships aren't actually to grow, but that's just the nature of them. They're going to that's going to happen anyway. And what if I just set the intention to enjoy relationships? And that changed the game for me. Like it really, like that sounds like such a little thing, but I've chosen a partner who we grow all the time, but not so much through so many challenges, but we enjoy so much. Like that's the intention. That's why we have our ice cream meeting over the coffee that we love in the morning. It's really enjoyable, you know? And that's where I think, to your point about the struggle, the engaging with struggle, like I can so relate to that. And I certainly wouldn't change any of my past. And at the same time, I kind of look at things like little speed bumps now, or maybe significant speed bumps, not as something to overcome, which I did look at it that way for many years. I got really strong at overcoming. What I really look at is, the question I ask myself, oh, is this a divine redirection? Is this just kind of like, is this kind of going to look this way instead of that way? And that's really helped with not having so many things be a struggle.
Mm, that's so good. So what do you see now for the future of you? Like, what's coming?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's
Of
so
you.
funny. So, you know, this summit is happening to me at like the perfect timing for me, because as a coach and mentor, um I love the one-to-one work that I do, like getting in deep with people, and I have a handful of one-to-one clients. And I also see that um with what I'm doing in the ice cream business, which is getting even more and more important really as the company grows, that that I don't really want to expand the one-to-one. I probably need to limit it at this point. But I know that I have work that I'm here to do in terms of relationships, helping women in particular, but I think maybe even couples at some point, experience the transformation that I've experienced, And so I have some things, coming up for that. I have a class that I'm going to do in November about that, and share some of my story, and some tips and that sort of thing. But I think what I'm accepting in myself right now is that I can have all of the things in my life that I want. I can be an incredible mentor and coach. I can be involved in the ice cream business to whatever level I want. Those two things can match together, and I can my image, if you will, what I'm portraying can just be all of me. I'm a mom of an 18-year-old. Like, that's a really interesting. And so I'm really giving myself permission with Danielle's help. I love Danielle, who spoke this morning. Um, it's been profound, the level of permission I feel to just be me, mix it all together, and not need to know what the next outcome is. Because what keeps happening to us in the ice cream business, and my own coaching business has actually been this way for 12 years, is like, we'll make a plan and God will laugh, and then something bigger will come along that we could never even have known to wish for. And so I think this year I've kind of gone like, well, I don't know what's next, but I can't wait to see what it is, but I don't need to plan it really, you know? And that feels so good. Again, to be at the age that we're at, I think that I'm feeling so much freedom, so
Your
much freedom.
energy is just such a refreshing energy. Like spending time with you feels so fun. I'm excited for what your clients are going to get to experience. And the feeling I keep getting is that what they're going to get from you and how this is going to break through somehow is you're going to figure out how to how to create an experience. I think that's how it's going to leverage. And it's going to be the same kind of story. Like instead of it being one scoop at a time with like one-on-one clients, one scoop at a time, it's going to be like that same experience, finding that experiential thing that then makes it that, 120 people buy a $55 thing. You know what I mean? It's going to be that kind
Yes.
of energy, I find. Because you have the one-on-one thing. That's not a question. I'm here, I'm sitting with you, and I'm just like, I feel more in love. I feel more happy. I feel more bubbly. I feel more lighthearted just sitting and speaking with you. And so I can only imagine what your one-on-one clients feel like. And there's all this knowledge and there's all of this manifestation and all of these incredible things that you've done and you've achieved and you've created and you've manifested. And those things have got to show up somewhere too. And so you definitely get to have it all. You get to have the
Yes.
thriving business, the thriving marriage, you get to have the passion project, you get to have everything work at the same time. Because at the end of the day, it's all connected to Kim.
It is. It is. And it for so long I tried to figure out, um, what is my one message, which is impossible. Manifesting generator here. It's like I need 4, 5, 6 pots on the stove at one time to feel alive, like it's just the level of energy that I have. And then the more I love the things that are on the stove, whichever, like I don't do anything I don't like to do. I don't
Really?
feel obligated to do anything in my business, especially since meeting Danielle, and she handles all the tech stuff. Like, oh my God, that's been amazing. Like, I really don't do anything that I don't want to do. But like, I really, honestly, I feel like my one-to-one clients, which one of my wonderful clients is here. Like, I feel like I've handpicked these people. I love them, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a delight. Um, so that feels amazing to be at that point, in my life and in my work.
What an incredible point to be and to be supporting people from that place. Because I really do find there's a gift in every voyage, there's a gift in every journey, and every chapter of our life comes with its own flavor. It's like this is the collection of events and feelings that are coursing through me during this phase when you're working with me. And then this is the collection of things. And the current collection of events in your life, like the person you're being right now, the version of you people get to work with, that is an iconic time to be your client while you're feeling like this and while you're just nailing it like this. Like that is great energy to calibrate with.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because I feel like I'm at this place, because people obviously, when folks come to me with, this is where my storm comes in. People bring me sometimes things that are tough, like really, really tough. But where I am in my life at this point, I can honestly say there's nothing someone could bring to me that would unground me. And that to me is sort of But when sometimes we want to make sense of the past. Like that's why, because I'm really here to do some big work with people, and I'm doing that. And it would be I can't imagine a scenario that I haven't either been through with a client, been through myself, or something that we could come up with that I couldn't be of immense value to that person. And that feels amazing. That took that took the strength, it took the power that beyond like it's and I know I'll keep evolving. Like I can't even imagine. Like wonder where I'll be next year at this time or in 5 years. Like, whew, it's exciting.
I have so many things coming to my mind, but just the feeling of you're 57 and the thought is imagine how great things will be in 5 years. How many women need to hear this? How many women need to hear this? I'm 57 and I'm what I'm thinking to myself today is if things are this great today, how great are they going to be in 5 years? Like that's what we want. We want more
Yes.
women that are growing and saying this at every stage of the way. Women who are saying, I loved my 30s, but my 40s are even better. And I love my 40s, my 50s are even better. And like 50s cute, but wait till you get to like the more conversations we have like that, the more it's like life is a constant journey. It's not going to stop. It's not going to just stop getting fun. It's not going to stop being exciting. It's not going to stop. You're not going to stop living. You're not going to stop magnetizing things. It's the opposite. You're going to say, imagine how great it's going to be in 5 years from now. Like, I love this so much.
Yes. And I have loved my 50s. Like, honestly, I would not go back in time. Like, it has been like I have had so many incredible things happen in my 50s. And even just in the last 2 years, like, I think about the channel, like, I my honest, this is my feeling about my life. I am just getting started. Like, that's how liberated I feel at this point. Like, and it's like, how did that happen? I wouldn't have said that that would happen in my 50s, but that's how it feels to me.
I'm in love with this. Like, this is the greatest feeling. Hearing this is good for humanity. It's good for womanhood and it's good for humanity. People need to hear stories like this. This is what we live for. We live for betterment till the end. Like forever. Keep seeing it, keep feeling it. And even if you have phases in your life where it feels like it still gets to unblock in 2-3 years from now, you'll be saying, this is the
So,
best of my life. Like, just keep going, keep dreaming, keep manifesting, keep believing that crazy, wild, awesome things are coming for you because they are. And the more you're a match for them and the more you're open, like, when's the last time you said, for real, and be honest with yourself, when's the
mhm.
last time you said, the audience here, life will be better in 5 years from now. Life is so great now. And imagine in 5 years. When's the last time you said that? Like, we need to say that every day. We need to say life is so great, but imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years. We need to say that. We need to feel that. That is the greatest. I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah,
I think
it's
I'm getting a
it's
sugar high from the ice cream.
I love it.
That is the best ice cream. I'm like, Kevin, bring it back. Okay. I am going to be doing a full capsule of the ice cream because I want to be able to showcase. I'm going to take little pictures. I'm going to do all the things. I'm just so obsessed. I cannot handle it. And I want to just say, having you in the channel has been such an incredible experience. Your presence, your energy, your kindness, it's such a breath of fresh air. And what I love about you, and something that I think the girls can attest to this, the other women in the channel, you, even though there was a feeling inside of like, I wish that others could see me, nobody felt that from you. Nobody felt like you were waiting to join. No one was waiting. No one felt like you weren't in. And I think that that's such a testament to the personality that you have. It's like, even when you're considering it or being on the back burner or contemplating, you're still one of the grandest presences. Like, you're still shining bright. We're seeing you, we're feeling you, even when you're thinking about it, not sure yet, and all the things. Like, we like, you make a mark, you leave your mark. And we've all been so excited about the ice cream journey, and the fact that I have some now is just like very exciting. I know a lot of women in the channel all wanted some as well, but we're excited for all of it for you. Like, this to me feels like, of course it takes 2 years. Of course, 2 years ago, you tell me you have ice cream, I want it. You're like, one day we'll figure out how to send it. And the day you were able to send it was the night before the channel talk, the summit talk. Like, is those 2 years.
Yeah.
This is life. This is the
Yeah.
synchronicities of everything, and what's going to happen in the next 5 years for you. I can't wait to see what you do. I'm so
Can't wait
excited
to
for
see.
everything. Your
And the
relationship.
timing, like I was telling Melanie, I want to tell everybody that these branded pints, because I couldn't picture, you guys will laugh, but I couldn't picture Melanie and Layer eating out of a recycled pint, which there's nothing wrong with the craft paper pints, with a sticker stuck on it. Like I just couldn't picture it. And so these pints, our branded pints, came in like last Wednesday. And I'm like, just in time to get them onto FedEx. So
Like,
it's like,
the timing, it's too perfect. You hear me with a towel on my head, you find out you manifested money back from overpaying something, you get into the channel, you come in like, what do I need to do in order to be seen? I've never seen you more radiant. Your marriage is rocking it. You manifest the dream location on the corner, that with a company that's got access to the resources to create the pints and all the things, and they show up a week before the summit, and I receive the ice cream the night before your talk. You can't even write a better story. It's too good.
so much fun. It's so
And
much
it's just the
fun.
beginning.
Oh, it's just the beginning. We're just getting started.
So if there was one last thing you could leave our audience with before I read your bio, one last thought, what would you like to leave everyone with?
Here's something that I want to leave everyone with. When I was talking about like really thinking about this as relationships, right? Is that a relationship with ourselves is so important. And when we look outside to try to get that, one of the things that we don't realize, but I know is the truth, is we cannot get enough of something we don't actually need. We can't. We can't get it from the outside. This is an inside job. It's above all relationship with ourselves. We cannot ever get enough of something on the outside that we don't actually need.
Thank you for that. This was so lighthearted and so fun. I could just chat with you forever. Last night, how long did we go back and forth on Boxer? I was just sitting on the couch talking to Kim for like an hour. I'm just like, okay, but I have questions, and tell me about this and tell me about that. I'm just chatting for an hour.
Yeah, I was playing it. My husband was listening. He was beaming ear to ear, and my friend Susan, who is on here, knows like he's not a big smiler, but like that, you couldn't wipe the smile off his face as Melanie was talking about the ice cream.
Because I was eating the peanut butter stracciatella and having some kind of awakening, spiritual awakening through ice cream. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So let me read your bio here. Kim is an executive coach and mentor who spent 23 years in corporate. She helped grow her company from 14 million to 40 million in 3 years' time through persistence, hard work, and determination, which meant diddly squat since she was burnt out, miserable in her marriage, and felt like she was in a pressure cooker 24/7. In 2012, looking for relief and pursuing a lifelong passion, she started a coaching practice focusing on stressed out business owners and executives. She guides her clients through the transformation that she has made for herself, from disconnected, disembodied, yet successful, to feeling deeply connected to purpose and thriving financially with experiencing rewarding relationships in and out of the office. I feel like I'm so glad people met you before they heard that, because although, gosh, like the accolades and the things that you've actually done are spectacular, it's who you are. That's the magic. And I'm glad that everyone got to hear that before they read that, because it is very impressive what you've done, but it's just so fantastic who you are. And so thanks for being both. In a world where we really need good examples of both, thank you for being both. What a fun chat. Thank you all for being here. This was amazing. We have one last call today and then 2 tomorrow, and then that's it. The channel will be complete. Please meet us here this evening. I am so grateful for your presence. Thank you, Kim, for 2 years together. I'm so grateful, and I can't wait to see what you do. Everyone, thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you on the internet. Bye.